one more time. Okay, thank you, JK. And one more time, I will paste here my own email address. And if you want to have a one-on-one session, or if you want to join our gratitude group on Facebook, yeah, this is the link here. And also those people who join our YouTube channel will be invited to an advanced Q&A session, which is held monthly on the third Tuesday of the month, 6 p.m. Pacific time. And the first Tuesday of the month, we will have our monthly women's group at 5 p.m. Pacific time. And yeah, Lori has kindly been hosting the women's group. So we're going to have it, on the first Tuesday of the month. And then also we have the weekly Right View Lab, like this one today here. And we have Karma Lab on Wednesdays, 5 p.m. Pacific time, and Purpose and Meaning Lab on Fridays, 3 p.m. Pacific time, and Saturday's Happiness Lab, 10 a.m. Pacific time. So in case you don't see this information on the meetup, please email me for the information. I'll be happy to share with you. And also a quick hello to Rick and Lori, who just joined us. Good to have you guys too. Very good. Okay. So yeah, Yuichi is going to share with us his presentation for today for about 20-25 minutes or a little bit more. And meanwhile, you can type your questions in the chat box or directly on the YouTube channel. And then we will open it up to questions and answers. Yeah. So thank you, Yuichi, for being here and having prepared for us. And let us know, how can we practice the right view to see things just as they are, not how we want to see things, to be how we project our expectations onto them, so we suffer less and have more joy of being alive as a human being, so we know that life is worth living. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah, today's right view is about ourselves, our true self, how we can see our true self as they are. So this is the goal. It's not easy to reach this goal. It takes a certain journey, but we have to take the first step. So yeah, it's the continuation from last week. The main topic is, what's the meaning of no self? No self, I mean, non-self. In Pali language, it's called anatta. Let me share with you my slide. Yeah, this is main topic. So I don't think we can finish this today. I think it will continue to next week and maybe next week. So yeah, this is one of the flagship teaching of Buddhism. So understanding this teaching is very, very crucial. What does this mean? No self. And there is a common misunderstanding about this. It doesn't mean we don't exist. Our self doesn't exist. No, that's not the meaning. That's the common misunderstanding. But there is a certain comfort thinking in that way. Yeah, there's no self. So there will be no suffering. If self doesn't exist, there will be no suffering. So there is a certain comfort in thinking in that way. And maybe we can feel a little bit happier, or our suffering might become less. I had such experience myself. It's okay sometimes to think in that way. But Buddha's intention of teaching this is a little different. Self is not an illusion. It exists. Yeah. And that self will achieve true happiness. Yeah, maybe if self doesn't exist, true happiness will not exist either. Buddha said this reality might be illusion. Buddha said, yeah, we think we are living in this reality. I'm living my life. You too. So we strongly believe this is the reality. But Buddha said, you can be a little bit skeptic about it. Yeah, because after many decades, and you look back on your life, and then you have a lot of memory, and you have a lot of memory to each places you visited or you used to live. But don't they look or feel like dream? At that time, it felt like reality. Of course, we were living in reality, but in retrospect, most of them or all of them look like a dream, don't they? I make a trip to my home country, Japan, except during the pandemic, but the pandemic is now over. So I visited Japan and then visited my hometown and went through the street where my classmates used to live. Just a moment. Yeah, but the houses are gone. Most of the houses are gone. They moved out. And then suddenly a strange feeling hits me. Did they really live here? I feel like, it feels like it was a dream. Yeah, today this is not the main topic, but Buddha said, yeah, our life might be like dream. Because when it's over, they are all completely gone. We have memory, but our memory is not so reliable. Scientists say we forge our memory. So we strongly believe that we have a good memory, and what we remember is true. We think, we believe, but in many cases, our memory is wrong. We make up our own memory. Yeah, this is a function of the brain. So all the more, what really happened and what didn't happen, we are not sure. Sometimes I feel such strange feeling about life. Anyway, that's not today's main topic. So what's the meaning of the self and the no self? So there might be new people who didn't join last week. So let me give a brief review with my slide. So this is a makeshift hut. Yeah, somebody found in a forest. And this is made of tree branches. So people can live in this hut and spend time. Maybe they can have some kind of gathering or sleep. Yeah, it's a hut. It's just made of tree branches, kind of almost 100%. But once those branches are disassembled, then the makeshift hut doesn't exist anymore. So while the branches are assembled, a hut exists. But when they are disassembled, hut disappear. So does the hut really exist or not? The answer is yeah. Well, yeah, I already said the hut exists while they are being assembled, but it's transitory. When they are disassembled, hut doesn't exist anymore. So there is something that keeps the branches being together. This is a certain energy. When that energy or condition is gone, the hut doesn't exist anymore. It's the same with smartphone. One smartphone is made of 1,500 parts in the case of iPhone. I'm not sure about the Android phone. I think it's almost the same. But when all the parts are disassembled, iPhone will disappear. There's no function. iPhone doesn't exist anymore. When all the parts are being together, iPhone exists. Same with the car. Sorry, 10 is missing here. One car is made of 20,000 to 30,000 parts. But once they are disassembled, car is gone. Doesn't exist anymore. Our body is the same. Buddha said, our body is made of many, many different parts. Physical part and non-physical, non-material part. For your information, I want to share with you Buddha's teaching about how many parts make up our body. Buddha didn't say 1,000 or 20,000. Buddha said 5 parts. Let me share it with you. It's just a teaching, a doctrine of Buddhism. I cannot go deep into this topic today. Yeah, in Buddhism, it is taught that human existence is composed of 5 factors called the 5 aggregates. Right, these 5 aggregates, what are the 5 aggregates? They are form, sensations, perceptions, intentions, consciousness. This is Buddha's teaching. 5 aggregates, 5 factors that constitute human beings' physical and mental self. 5 things that human beings are made of. Form means the material or physical. Yeah, we have this body. This is our form. And sensations, feelings from the 5 senses. 5 senses are eye, nose, ears, and the tongue. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the skin, touch. Those are 5 senses. And we have sensations from those 5 senses. Delicious, something is delicious, something smells good, soothing music, and aromatherapy, and a comfortable bed. Those are the sensations from the five senses. Yeah, that constitute big part of our body. And perceptions, thoughts that arise from sensations. Yeah, thoughts are different from five senses. It's in Buddhism, it's also called thought consciousness. The fourth one, intentions. Intentions that arise from perceptions. And then lastly, consciousness. Oh, I'm a little confused. I thought thought consciousness is related to the third one. So this is really difficult. But anyway, our body is made of many parts, but five. So many people identify themselves with the body. That's why they go to the gym, right? And then it develops their muscle. And they do biking and running and jogging along the beach. They want to develop their muscles. Yeah. So body is something very important to us. And it's also related to our good health. But we talked about this a lot last week. Body is not our identity. Yeah. Because we say, this is my arm. I say, this is my arm. This is my heart here. And this is my leg. But there is something that is speaking. My leg, my arm, my heart. So there is an owner of our body. And through one episode from Buddha's disciple, last week we understood that many body parts are replaceable, right? Not only our arm or leg, we can have a trans-organ surgery. So we can replace our inner organs too, liver or kidney or heart, even heart, we can replace it with a healthy one. And maybe in the future, we can have an artificial heart. So heart disease can be cured very easily in the future. And some people are discussing, maybe we can replace our brain too. If you want to become a little bit smarter, maybe you can replace your brain with a new one. Maybe we can cure dementia. That's a future perspective. Yeah. These days, neuroscientists say our brain is not our identity. There's no part that is in charge of our sense of ourself. There are neuroscientists do the mapping of the brain, mapping the brain. They can find the language center in the brain, maybe the left brain, and the face processing center. We can, easily recognize our friends, family member because of this function. There's a certain part that is in charge of face processing, and the center for understanding the emotion of others. They say there is such a part in our brain, but even until now, no neuroscientists have found the definite part that is in charge of the sense of self. Yeah, so brain is not ourself. Yeah, we can definitely say this. Rather, brain is a tool. Brain is our operation system, or just an app. There is a certain force that is using our brain. Something is using our brain, the owner of the brain. Brain itself is not the owner. Brain is the possession, belonging. I said, our body is not our identity, although it's our possession. Yeah, it's our possession. And our personality is like our possession, because personality also changes. Yeah, our body parts change too. Yeah, when you do a lot of muscle training, naturally you have bigger muscle. These days I'm measuring the muscle, how much muscle I have with the weight. These days, scale is very smart. It can measure how much muscle I have. So if I do a lot of training, I can see my muscle is growing. So likewise, our personality also change. Yeah, by practicing good deed or bad deed, by having a good habit, we can improve our personality. By having a little bit bad habit, maybe our personality becomes a little worse. Yeah, we talk about this a lot in our Karma Lab. But the change of personality is very minor. Among us, our personality is almost similar. This is kind of surprising, but that's true. Let me show you with my slide. Okay, here's a description of your personality. It's a quote from a book. Okay, Viva, could you read a few slides?
Okay, sure. You have a need for other people to like and admire you, and yet you tend to be critical of yourself. While you have some personality weaknesses, you are generally able to compensate for them. You have considerable unused capacity that you have not turned to your advantage. Disciplined and self-controlled on the outside, you tend to be worried and insecure on the inside. At times, you have serious doubts as to whether you have made the right decision or done the right thing. You prefer a certain amount of change and variety and become dissatisfied when hemmed in by restrictions and limitations. You also pride yourself on being an independent thinker and do not accept others' statements without satisfactory proof. but you have found it unwise to be too frank in revealing yourself to others. At times, you are extroverted, affable, and sociable, while at other times, you are introverted, wary, and reserved. Some of your aspirations tend to be rather unrealistic. David McRaney, you are not so smart.
Thank you. Does this describe you guys, each one of you? It should. It describes everyone. That's the message. All the above statement came from a psychological experiment conducted in 1948. A researcher gave his students a personality test and told them each one had been personally assessed, but then gave everyone the same analysis. He asked his students to look over the statements and rate them for accuracy. On average, they rated the bogus analysis as 85% correct, as if it had been personally prepared to describe each one of them. The block of text above was actually a mishmash of lines from horoscopes collected for the researcher for the experiment. Quoted from the same book, You Are Not So Smart. We are made of same genes. Yeah, you know, genetically speaking, you and your friends are almost identical, right? There's not much difference. And those genes create the brain. And then the brain becomes the center, the device to generate our mind, thought consciousness. So it's natural we have almost similar thoughts and mindset and maybe personality. Yeah. So what is so unique with us? What is the uniqueness of me? Yeah, we need to think about it. So in Buddhism, we have it's like subconsciousness, which psychologists found. Yeah, Freud found long time ago. But almost 2,000 years before Freud found it, Buddha taught we human beings have subconsciousness or depth psychology. And it's in Buddhism, it's called alaya consciousness. And the answer to the question, what is our true self, is this alaya consciousness. This consciousness exists in a deep down. Usually we are not aware of it. But sometimes our deep, strong feelings or emotion arises from nowhere, right? Deep and strong emotions. The three representatives are desire and anger and envy. Yeah, it can be called foolishness. Yeah, envy or foolishness. It's a little difficult, so we can focus on our desire or anger. Yeah, some people are really short-tempered. They can explode in a very short moment. Where does such strong emotion come from? If we can think rationally, there's no necessity to erupt into rage. We know that very well through our reasoning and ethics and common sense. But in front of our strong emotions, our common sense, ethics, and philosophy or discipline go beyond the board, and it doesn't have any power. Yeah, because our rationality belongs to the thought consciousness, and our strong emotion like desire or anger is originated in our deeper part, our subconsciousness, which is, in Buddhism, alaya consciousness. It's the master or the owner, and of the brain. The brain is the employee. They are not master. So that's why we feel like we are overwhelmed and we are manipulated by those strong emotions. They didn't generate in our mind. That's why it has much extremely strong power. But our rationality is not so powerful, even though we know a lot of etiquettes, manners, but when being confronted, it doesn't have power. So sometimes those strong, let's call it blind passions. That's Buddhist terminology. Blind passions avoid our filtering and come to the surface, and it appears in front of people. And then later we have to have regret. I think this is part of what is called self-loathing. From the standpoint of ethics and reasoning and rationality, that kind of behavior is unacceptable, but something exploded. And then we have to, have self-loathing, and it doesn't. It lasts very long, and we have to suffer. Some self-help teachers describe it as something external, something that doesn't belong to us. So it didn't come from our own, but temporarily we were possessed by something. And then we behave erratically. But we are not responsible because it's kind of bad spirit that possess us. Some people say this. But Buddha said, that's wrong. Those emotions originated from ourselves deep down. Although we are not aware of the origin, but it has come from our own self. So we have to be responsible. How can we then avoid self-loathing? Maybe we should make more effort to practice 6 parameters. I didn't prepare the slide today, but 6, yeah, I think most of you know 6 parameters, right? Can somebody share with us what are 6 parameters?
Kindness, giving, and I just said them and now my brain's forgetting. Kindness, giving, diligence, patience. Is it perseverance or is that the same as diligence?
Well, they're 2 different ones, yeah.
Did I get them wrong?
You're missing 2.
Oh, okay. Kindness, giving, patience, diligence. And then if you guys could give me the other 2, I'm forgetting them, I guess.
Thank you, Giselle. I think the other 2 are keeping promises and self-cultivation. Yeah, today I don't have time to explain everything, but yeah, kindness, generosity, or giving, these are the same. So being kind, try to be kind and try to put ourselves into others' shoes and put priority to others' well-being and happiness. If we can practice this with our loved ones or with people who are important to us, little by little, we can improve our personality and we can have more control, a little bit more control over our brain passions. There will be less chances to have regret or self-loathing. We need to, our instinct tells us to take more, receive more, get more. This is our instinct, base instinct. But yeah, it's like consumption, consuming material stuff one after another. It doesn't generate much. We just consume something and then we create waste. But instead of just consuming, we can help, like circulating something, our good intention, our good energy, positive energy, by giving our positive energy start circulate in the community, among the friends and the family and the neighbors. Yeah, the circulating, you need to think about it, the cycle of good energy. Yeah, when money circulates in the community, the economy grows bigger and bigger. If all people just try to save money in their bank account and don't use the money, the economy will collapse. Yeah. So, yeah, by practicing good deeds, we can try to regulate our desires and anger and jealousy, envy, foolishness. Okay, so yeah, that's almost what I wanted to share with you today. I explained I had a brief review of last week Right View Lab and how our personality are all similar, and we don't need to identify ourselves with our possession, like physical body, or they are like accessories. It's different from ourselves. So we have to know what is our true self. In Buddhism, it's alaya consciousness, our subconsciousness. It's very deep. So by listening to Dharma again and again, little by little, we will understand what is alaya consciousness and what are blind passions. So we have to continue this topic next time. But let's have question and answer session.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Yuichi, for sharing with us. As we look at the sufferings, it all starts with each one of us with the self. So yeah, how can we let go of this self or the attachment? We're going to learn. So I saw 3 questions posted in the chat box. So the first question is from Elizabeth from the beginning of the lecture. How we make up a memory to suit our perception of reality. Is that what you said? Do we make up a memory, the memories we have, in order to suit our perception of reality?
Yes, that happens all the time. It happens to me. First, we forget many things. Yeah, this is one very important reality. Actually, forgetting has a good positive side and negative side. Forgetting about our trauma is good. If we remember our trauma for quite a long time, it hurts ourselves so much. So forgetting is good. Psychiatrists might say opposite. Yeah, I'm not psychiatrist, but Buddha said forgetting is good, a positive side. But forgetting other people's kindness is not good. Yeah, and then we become like Ingrid. We should be grateful about people's kindness, but unfortunately, we forget many things, especially when it's not convenient for us. One easy example is when we borrow money, it's easy for us to forget. Right? Of course, we don't forget about it if we borrow money from bank. If we borrow money from a friend, we tend to forget or we misunderstand the deadline. Even if the deadline is the end of this month, we strongly believe it should be next month. Yeah, it's not a joke. It happens often. I cannot think of other examples. Yeah, this is what I learned from a book of science. So yeah, this is true. That's why when we lose something in our house, it's very difficult to find it because we strongly believe I put this stuff in this drawer 3 days ago, but it doesn't exist in here. Maybe my husband moved it. And it will create a little bit quarrel between the couple. You know, it's the changing of one's memory. You don't remember very well. Yeah. So many quarrels actually happen because of such misunderstanding. So we should write down everything. I'm joking. But we should be very skeptic about our memory.
Okay, very good. Yeah, Elizabeth wrote, thank you. And the second question we got is, can the blind passions be negative thoughts of the self, such as sadness and disappointment?
Vida, could you say it again?
Oh, okay, yeah. Can the blind passions be negative thoughts of the self, such as sadness and disappointments? I think you mentioned blind passions as the big categories of desires, anger, and foolishness. So this question is, how about sadness or disappointments?
Yeah, why do we feel disappointment toward ourselves? I think we look at ourselves from perspective of a third-party person, or the criterion of good ethics or common sense, because of our strong desire or anger, we behave badly. And then later we can do self-reflection, and then we regret, but it's too late. So in this situation, one of our desire is deeply damaged, or one of our desires is not satisfied at all. It's the opposite. Which desire am I talking about? It's the desire of recognition or good reputation. Actually, this desire is very strong. We want to be praised. We want to be recognized as a role model of the core, of the workers in an office. We want to be respected. We want to be well thought of. But when we behave in a bad way, it's the opposite. We think, oh, now people look down on me. Now my reputation is destroyed, ruined. What can I do? So our desire is not met, so we feel sad. It's the desire for recognition. We have 5 desires, but this desire is one of the strongest. For the sake of good reputation, we do everything, right? We can even skip one meal. It's not such a big deal. We go too far and so far to get good reputation. We work very hard because of this desire. So opposite is true too. When this desire is severely damaged, I mean hurt, yeah, one might commit suicide. It's really terrible. Yeah. When we are humiliated, that's a big blow. So the desire for recognition is big part of our blind passions. So that's why, Odama, we need to take good care of this. So it's the same. By practicing 6 parameters, we can satisfy this desire. Yeah, working hard and also giving kindness. But of course, in order to satisfy our desire for recognition, then we do kindness. That's like a string attached. It's not so good. Yeah, when we practice kindness, we need to forget our own kindness. We should forget getting return. We should not have expectation. So it sounds a little contradictory, but why we suffer? Because such strong desire is not met. That's why.
Okay, very good. Yeah, so listening to Buddhism helps us gain awareness of those blind passions and finding out which ones are not being fulfilled, so we understand our sadness and disappointments in life too, and do something positive about them. Okay, very good. And also we had one more question. Does Buddhism reveal a way to alter or change our subconscious thoughts if needed? Because we learned about how we are at the mercy of those subconscious thoughts, like our desires, anger, or foolishness. Okay, so that's like not a good news. So does Buddhism show us a way to change those subconscious thoughts?
The answer is yes and no. Buddhism doesn't teach the way to change the blind passion, but Buddhism teaches the way to kind of eliminate them all. But it's not the correct description because as long as we live, those blind passions remain as they are. They don't increase, they don't decrease, they remain as they are with the same intensity in deep down. But once we achieve our ultimate goal of true happiness, we can, a Buddha, lift our heavy burden from our back. We are suffering with carrying heavy backpack, and then we are continuing our journey with carrying this heavy back burden. But the moment we achieve true happiness through Buddha's power, our heavy burden will be lifted from our back. It's like all the heavy karma will be lifted or eliminated. So it is as if all the bad blind passions are rooted out. As long as we live, they remain, but we feel as if they are completely gone, because after that moment, we will never suffer from those blind passions. That's one side of true happiness taught by Buddha. So it doesn't change. Buddha's power will eradicate them all. And that's our hope.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a beautiful message by Buddhism. Thank you for sharing. Elizabeth wrote, if we achieve true happiness, yeah, or it's more like, yeah, once we achieve true happiness, there would be no need to change subconscious thoughts. Yeah, so that's what Buddhism calls the world of no hindrance. You can have absolute freedom in your mind because we see them all, we understand them all, instead of like what Yuichi read, trying to pretend to be someone that we're not to fit a circumstance or a situation. Okay, very good. Sally, did you have something to say? I noticed you unmuted for a second.
No, I think I just unmute myself accidentally.
Okay, no problem. Okay, thank you.
I have a question.
Okay, yes, go ahead.
Yeah. So I'm reading a book, talks about, I'm just getting into, my name's Chen. I asked that question about, you talked about the desire about recognition, and it's like touched on exactly what, like, just like you said, everybody's personality is the same. This is the first time I heard of that theory, and it's very enlightening to hear that. And so I guess you did explain about recognition, the desire, how Buddhism practice, but I guess in the short answer, I don't know how to achieve that. Not yet. There's a hope, but I don't know how. But my question is, from what I have been reading about like Dalai Lama's view of a Buddhism, and our purpose of life is to find happiness, truly happiness. And what's my question? I'll come back. I forgot what I was going to ask. Sorry about this. Let me think. I'll come back.
No problem. Yeah. Yeah. So that's very good. True happiness. And the more we practice those 6 parameters, kindness, keeping promises, diligence, self-reflection, wisdom, effort, the closer we move towards that true happiness. Okay, so we will come back to it again and again. And also last comment by Lee, the self-cultivation aspect was interesting to touch on tonight, especially when confronted with self-loathing, which is something I deal with often. Thank you for this and also for the answer on finding happiness through Buddha's truth and wisdom. There is no more suffering. Yeah, let's hold that thought and meditate on it and know why we are born is to be liberated from suffering. So good job, everyone, for being here. I put my information down in the chat box if you need more information. Take good care. Hope to see you next time. Try to join our YouTube channel if it's possible. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
Bye.
Yes, thank you. Good to see you.
Yeah.
Blessings.
Same
Yep.
here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, you both.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
Thank you.
Okay, good job, Lori. Thank you. Looking forward to the women's group coming up.
Yep.
Thank you.
Next week. Okay.
Yeah. See you. Bye.
See you.
Good night.
Okay. Thank you, Chan. She wrote she will make a donation later. Thank you.
Thank you.